Okay, so hello everyone. We're going to start a new section today. We're actually going to start Microsoft Excel. So we've done Microsoft Word, which is a word processing type of software. We've done a little bit of PowerPoint, which is a presentation type of software. Now we're going to do something that's a little new to you. All right, so Microsoft Excel is what we call a spreadsheet type of software. It's very similar to the Google Docs spreadsheets, except Excel does a lot more tricks and has a lot more bells and whistles than the free Google spreadsheets. There's a few reasons why we are looking into doing Excel. I can guarantee you if any of you go into any sort of business position, whether you're working in an office, whether you're going into marketing, whether you're going into finance, whether you're going into accounting, you're going to use Microsoft Excel. Also, if you're going into the science field, you might use Microsoft Excel, or it might be required for you to use for your labs. So I can absolutely promise you that you will use this spreadsheet software at some other point in time. So we're going to teach you the basics. Okay, so we're going back to the SAM trainings that we've done, and you are going to do the trainings and the quizzes. That's all we're doing. We're not doing the projects because a lot of you don't have this software at home. So we're just going to do the trainings and the quizzes. And the way it's going to work is if you do not do a training or you do not do a quiz, you get that failing grade. If you do it, but you don't do so great, like I see you're in between a 59 and a 78, I think it is, you'll get a 75. If you get an A or a B, because I am not here to help you on those quizzes, I am going to round that up to a 100. So that's how the grading is going to work. The trainings, everybody should absolutely get 100 because it walks you through it. Now, we all know that we're working on Chromebooks and things like that. So if you get stuck on something and you absolutely cannot move on to the next one, then just skip it. That's okay. I will still round it up to 100. If you're not sure why you're having an issue, shoot me an email. So you know that you can skip it, but it will not, your grade won't get submitted to me unless you click on submit. So if you had to skip one or two things in any of the trainings, you have to make sure that you click on submit and then override it because it'll say not complete. Do you still want to submit it? You will click on yes, and that way I will get your grade. Now your grade automatically goes into Canvas, all right? So you can see if I got it. And then every week I will go ahead and I will update those grades. As far as Checkology, I updated some grades, didn't update all. I'll have that done in the next couple of days if your particular grade is not updated. So with that being said, I'm just going to show you guys some key pieces and some key terms that you're going to hear in the Excel training. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to open up my Excel document. All right, so Excel is actually pretty cool. It does a ton of stuff for you. It's amazing at organizing everything for you. So I just threw out some numbers here. This is what your typical Excel spreadsheet looks like. So you can see across the top where it goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Those are columns. So in the training, when it asks you to do something to a particular column, it's going to be the A column, the B column, the C column, etc. So the way that I remember this is if you're thinking of structural buildings, so for those of you that learned about like the Colosseum and all the cool Roman buildings and everything like that, columns go up and down and they help support buildings. All right, so that's how I remember columns. And then we have these things here. And if you click on the outside on the numbers, it'll highlight the entire row, okay? So columns are up and down and rows are across, right? And the cheesy way that I remember rows is row, row, row your boat gently across my screen, okay? Cheesy, but you will remember it. So columns, if I click on this C column, for example, up and down, rows, across your screen. All right. And then we have inside the columns and rows, we have all these little guys. All right. And these are called cells. So right now I am in cell C because you can see that I'm in the C column. 7 because I'm in the 7th row, okay? If I go here, I'm in D7. If I move up, I'm in D6, okay? So when it's telling you to click on a particular cell, for example, B7, which I am right now, that's what it's talking about, okay? So we have columns, we have rows, and we have cells, okay? Now, why do people use Excel? Excel is amazing at organizing data for you, all right? And it does some awesome, pretty cool things on top of that. So a lot of people will use Excel because you can put various formulas in here and plug and change in numbers for math projects and things like that. I'm going to show you a couple of quick things. And then as you guys go through the trainings, I'm just going to highlight the key ones and just make sure you guys actually understood what you're doing. Because again, when you're doing the training, it's really easy to turn into a robot and just click here because that's what it tells you to do. But you didn't realize what you just did. So each week after we do a training, because we're going to do the training and the quiz each week, okay? So for example, this week, you guys will have training 1 and quiz 1 due, and they're actually very short. It's a very good introduction to Excel. And then when we meet next week, we'll talk and just make sure you understood it, and then we'll do training 2 and quiz 2, okay? But just a couple cool things to show you what Excel can do. So for example, I just typed in Monday and Tuesday right here. So let's say I'm making a spreadsheet of everybody that's going to work in my store on Monday and on Tuesday, but I don't want to type out the whole rest of the week, right? Excel's pretty smart. So if I just go here and click on that, and then I drag over here from the corner, I'm going to run out of room, so I'm going to stop here. It automatically fills in those days for me, right? Let's say I need to do the same thing with numbers. If I highlight these 2 numbers, it kind of senses a pattern. And then I drag all the way over and it will continue that pattern for me, all right? Another cool feature that it will do is it does a bunch of math functions. I'm gonna show you guys some basic ones, okay? So you're gonna live up in the top right-hand side of your screen, if you can see where my arrow's going. You're going to live on this auto sum kind of section. It's so important because it does so many cool things with Excel that you use this a lot for the trainings. All right, so I'm going to click. So I have my cell selected. So right now I'm in cell G11. So let's say I wanted to know what all of these numbers in the G column added up to. I'd leave that there. I'd go to auto sum. I'd click on sum because sum is the total of all the numbers. And then it kind of like autofill, it selects what it thinks you want it to add up. So it selects everything up here in this column, which is perfect because that's what I want. If I don't want it, I can highlight and I can click and move this box up and down. But I want all of these numbers here. So this is what the formula looks like. It says equals sum of G1 through G10. So that means it wants to add up all of G1 through G10, and it just did the formula for me, which is perfect. And I'm like, yes, that's what I want. So I hit enter, all right? And this is the total. Let's say I wanted something else. Let's say I wanted to know what the average of all these numbers was. I'd hit average, would do the same thing. It would give me the average. If I wanted to know, let's say I had a really, really, really long list, and I needed to know for some reason what the highest number is and what the lowest number is. This is something you might see in like a science lab or something like that. I could do my max, okay? So it says down there, it says, do you want the max of G1 to G10? Yes, I do, because max means the highest number there. I'll hit enter. This is the max number. What is it, 234 million? I could do the same thing if I wanted the min, which would be the lowest number. There's a lot of really cool things I can do. I can also, if I wanted to put these numbers in order, let's say I wanted to put these numbers in order, okay? I could go over here to my sorting and filtering. I could do it smallest to largest, or I could do it largest to smallest. If this was a bunch of names, I could put it in alphabetical order. So for example, I chair an organization that has like 5,000 members of volleyball players. And we need to make sure every year that they've all paid their membership. So I have a list on an Excel spreadsheet of 5,000 members. For me to go through, if they call up and say, did you get my membership, or does this person have their membership paid, or something like that, would be terrible if it wasn't in alphabetical order, right? So as they join, they go into my spreadsheet, and then I reorganize it so it's in alphabetical order. But going over here to sort and filter and just clicking, please put these in alphabetical order, is way easier than me going through and moving things around, all right? And all of these simple things, you can also do this, or most of these things, not the autofill where it turns these numbers Monday through Tuesday into the rest, but you can do a lot of this stuff in Google Spreadsheets too. So if a lot of this stuff, like being able to sort the numbers and add up all the numbers, or find the max, or find the min, the highest or the lowest, if any of this stuff is helpful for you, of course you can do it in Excel, which it's very likely you would use if you have some sort of business job or science job or something like that. But you can also do a lot of this yourself in the Google spreadsheets. Now, why are we doing Excel? Because I want you to be able to see everything it does, because Google Spreadsheets is amazing, but Google Spreadsheets is limited. So we want you to be able to see everything that can be done, and then you can kind of play back and forth and see what you can do in Excel, what you can do in Google Spreadsheets, and as you get further along in your high school career, and everything like that, you can then decide what works better for you, Excel or Google Spreadsheets, or there might be something else really cool at that time, okay? So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. So that's all I have right now, okay? So you can go back, you can watch this if you need a refresher or anything like that. The biggest things to remember for the training: columns, rows, and cells, all right? And then we'll go over and we'll talk about everything else. So what you have due this week, it is SAM Excel Training 1 and the quiz 1 that goes along with it. I will post that in Canvas. It should be there now. If you have any questions, please email me. Go in sooner rather than later. Maybe as soon as you close down this video, go in, make sure you can open it. Make sure you can access it from home. If you have a Chromebook or anything like that, you shouldn't have an issue. But go in now and just make sure you don't have any issues, so you're not emailing me Sunday night saying, I can't get my stuff in. Okay, so that's all I have for today. If you have any emails or anything like that, any questions or anything like that, feel free to shoot me an email. I'm on email 24/7. I had to escape the cold weather, so I am at my place in Florida, hence the palm trees behind you. I'm hoping to send you guys some of the sunshine. I miss seeing all of your faces. Again, any questions, comments, anything like that, let me know. I'm gonna let you guys do the trainings all this week. We are not gonna Zoom for the second class this week. We will Zoom again next week, okay? I hope you guys all have an amazing day, and I will talk to you later.